Listen closely, for there is a whisper the world has tried to bury under its noise. It tells you that slowing down, that choosing gentleness, that giving yourself grace is not weakness. You have been taught that proving your worth is measured in struggle and sacrifice, that your value is found in the exhaustion you wear like a badge. But I am here to tell you something else. You can choose peace without guilt. You can honor your soul without answering to the demands of everyone else. You can live softly and still stand tall. There is power in stillness. There is courage in quiet. Every day we chase more, achieve more, impress more, and in that chase we forget the tenderness of simply being. To choose a soft life is not to shirk responsibility. It is not to deny the world. It is to understand that your spirit is precious and that preserving it allows you to shine brighter. When you lay down the weight of proving yourself, you open your hands to joy. You allow room for love, for clarity, for creativity, for peace. You create a life that nurtures the roots of who you are, not just the surface that others see. Do not be afraid to let the world see you breathe. Do not apologize for seeking comfort. The soft life is a revolution, though it is quiet. It says no to exhaustion that comes from trying to prove you belong. It says yes to the freedom of aligning with your truth. Every moment you choose calm over chaos, you teach others that it is possible. Every time you honor your own heart, you make it easier for another to honor theirs. The soft life is not selfish, it is sacred. There is a voice inside you that often goes unheard, drowned out by the insistence of the world that you must constantly prove your worth. From the moment we take our first breath, society whispers in our ears that our value is measured by achievement, by recognition, by the applause of others. And so we run. We run to prove ourselves in careers, in relationships, in social circles, as if our very existence depends on the validation of others. But there comes a moment, a quiet, almost imperceptible moment, when you begin to realize that the act of proving yourself endlessly is not strength. It is exhaustion. It is the weight of expectations that were never truly yours to bear, a burden that dims the radiance of your own spirit. Choosing peace over proving yourself is an act of courage, and it begins the moment you stop seeking permission to exist. Courage is not always loud. It does not always roar. Often, it is the gentle choice to honor your own needs, to listen to the whispers of your heart, to step off the treadmill of relentless validation. The world will tell you that to slow down is to surrender, that to rest is to fail, that to prioritize peace is to be selfish. But there is nothing selfish in recognizing your own humanity. There is nothing selfish in saying, I will not allow my value to be dictated by someone else's standards. There is bravery in choosing calm over chaos, in valuing your inner world more than the relentless demands of the outer world. True courage is often quiet. It is found in the spaces where you refuse to prove yourself just to meet someone else's measure of worth. When you stop proving yourself, you begin to reclaim parts of your soul that were lost in the struggle. You begin to see that your value was never dependent on applause or recognition. You begin to trust that simply being is enough. The act of proving yourself endlessly keeps you tethered to a cycle of comparison, competition, and judgment. It keeps you focused on what others think rather than what you know deep in your heart. Choosing peace breaks that cycle. It frees you from the constant need to perform, to impress, to justify your existence. And in that freedom, you discover a strength far greater than any external validation could ever provide. There is a radical beauty in choosing peace. It is a choice to treat yourself with kindness, to honor your limits, to recognize that you are not here to be everything for everyone. The courage to step away from proving yourself allows you to step fully into yourself. It allows you to live in alignment with your values, to nurture your creativity, your joy, your relationships without the weight of expectation. You begin to see that the world does not need you to prove yourself. It needs you to be authentic, to show up as your true self. And authenticity is far more powerful than any performance you could ever give. In the soft life, courage and peace are intertwined. To choose peace over proving yourself is to challenge the conventional idea of strength. Strength is not measured by the exhaustion of your body or the approval of others. It is measured by the steadiness of your heart, the clarity of your mind, the freedom of your spirit. Each time you resist the urge to justify your worth, you strengthen yourself in ways that cannot be seen, but that are deeply felt. Every act of self-preservation, every moment of silence instead of argument, every choice to nurture rather than prove is a declaration of bravery. It is a way of saying, I am enough, I am worthy. I will not expend my energy seeking permission to exist. The path of peace over proving yourself is not always easy. It requires faith, patience, and trust in your own journey. The world will continue to demand, to judge, to measure, but you have the power to choose differently. You have the power to rise above the noise and honor the rhythm of your own heart. You have the courage to recognize that your life is not a competition, that your worth is not a performance, and that peace is not surrender. Choosing peace is choosing life itself, and in that choice, you embody a strength that cannot be shaken. So stand in your quiet courage and let the world measure your worth as it may. You do not need to prove yourself to anyone. Your existence is your own, your value inherent, your peace priceless. Choosing peace over proving yourself is the first step toward the soft life, and it is the most courageous step you will ever take. There is a certain grace in nurturing your own life, a quiet strength that comes from caring for your mind, your body, and your soul. In a world that often applauds constant struggle and relentless achievement, it is easy to forget that true growth does not come from exhaustion, from pushing beyond your limits, or from proving yourself to others. Growth comes from balance. Growth comes from honoring the deepest parts of yourself, from listening to the whispers of your heart, and from allowing space for rest and reflection. Choosing a soft life is not an act of surrender. It is an act of wisdom. It is the understanding that when you nourish yourself fully, you become capable of giving more, of loving more, and of living more fully. Your mind carries the weight of your thoughts, the echoes of past experiences, and the constant pressure of expectations. When you choose to nurture it, you create a sanctuary within yourself. You allow moments of silence to exist without fear, moments of reflection without judgment, moments of stillness without guilt. Meditation, reading, quiet walks, and simple contemplation are not luxuries, they are essentials. They are the soil from which clarity grows, the sunlight that illuminates your path, and the water that allows your inner strength to flourish. When your mind is nurtured, your perspective changes. You begin to see that the need to prove yourself is less urgent than the need to honor your own thoughts, your own creativity, your own dreams. The body, too, requires care. It is the vessel through which you experience the world, the instrument of your journey. Yet too often it is neglected, pushed beyond endurance in pursuit of recognition or validation. Choosing a soft life means listening to your body's rhythms, respecting its limits, and honoring its needs. Rest is not weakness. Nourishment is not indulgence. Movement, sleep, and self-care are declarations that your existence matters, that your life is worthy of preservation, that your body is sacred. When the body is nurtured, energy flows more freely, resilience strengthens, and the capacity to face challenges with grace expands. The soul, however, is the deepest layer of this nurturing. It thrives on authenticity, on alignment with your values, on acts of love and kindness toward yourself and others. When you stop proving yourself and start nurturing your soul, you open doors to intuition, to joy, to peace that cannot be taken away. Creative pursuits, quiet reflection, meaningful connections, and spiritual practices are ways to feed your soul. Each act of nurturing it is an act of liberation. It is a reminder that you are not here merely to perform for the world, but to live fully in your truth, to honor the beauty and the uniqueness of your own being. When mind, body, and soul are nurtured together, a remarkable transformation occurs. You become less reactive to the pressures of the outside world and more attuned to the wisdom within. You begin to recognize that constantly proving yourself is a form of depletion, while nurturing yourself is a form of empowerment. Strength does not come from the approval of others. It comes from the steadiness of your own heart and the alignment of your own being. The soft life is a choice to step off the hamster wheel of relentless proving and step into the rhythm of care and balance. There is also a ripple effect in nurturing yourself. When you care for your own well-being, your energy naturally radiates outward. You inspire others not through competition or demonstration, but through presence and example. You show that it is possible to live fully without sacrificing your peace. You demonstrate that strength can be quiet and resilience can be gentle. And in that demonstration, you invite others to honor themselves, to create their own space of balance, and to recognize that the soft life is not indulgence, but a path to true growth. This nurturing is not a destination, it is a practice, a continuous commitment to honor the whole of who you are. It requires patience and consistency. It asks that you resist the voices that demand you prove yourself endlessly, and instead trust that the life you cultivate in care and attention is enough. It asks that you choose your well-being as a priority, not an afterthought. The soft life is an invitation to live fully, deeply, and wisely. It is the recognition that your growth, your strength, and your impact flourish most profoundly when you nurture every part of yourself. So embrace the nurturing of your mind, body, and soul. Let care replace proving, let growth replace struggle, and let peace replace exhaustion. In doing so, you create a life that is not only sustainable but radiant, a life that honors the entirety of who you are and allows you to flourish in every way that truly matters. There is a quiet power in boundaries, a strength that is often misunderstood in a world that glorifies constant giving and relentless proving. From an early age, we are taught to accommodate, to bend, to stretch ourselves thin in service of others. We are praised for selflessness and criticized for saying no, as if our energy is an endless resource meant solely for the approval and comfort of those around us. But the truth is that boundaries are not walls meant to shut others out. They are bridges that connect us to our own well-being. They are a form of self-respect, a declaration that your time, your energy, and your peace matter. Choosing to honor them is not selfish. It is the courage to honor your own life, your own needs, and your own truth. Every boundary you set is an act of clarity. It tells the world who you are, what you value, and how you wish to be treated. Boundaries are not rigid or cold. They are gentle yet firm, like the roots of a tree that hold it steady through storms. Without them, you risk being pulled into conflicts that do not serve you, exhausted by demands that diminish you, and lost in the expectations of others. With them, you create space for your own growth, for your own rest, and for your own joy. The act of saying no when you need to is not a denial of love or loyalty. It is an affirmation of self-respect and an acknowledgement that your life is precious. Boundaries are especially essential in a culture that equates worth with constant proving. The more you prove yourself, the more the world asks. The more you give without pause, the more your soul grows weary. By setting boundaries, you reclaim the energy that was once scattered. You regain control of your focus, and you honor the rhythm of your own life. Saying no to what drains you is saying yes to what nourishes you. Saying no to constant validation is saying yes to your inner peace. Every boundary is an act of courage, because it requires you to stand firm in your truth, even when the world resists, even when the voices of doubt and guilt rise to challenge you. Boundaries are also a gift to others, for they clarify expectations and encourage healthier, more authentic relationships. When you stop overextending yourself to prove your worth, you invite others to meet you in honesty and respect. You teach through example that strength is not measured by how much you give, but by how well you honor yourself. Relationships become richer, not because you sacrifice, but because you show up fully present and grounded in your own integrity. The soft life thrives when boundaries are honored, because it allows for genuine connection rather than forced obligation. It is important to remember that boundaries are not fixed. They evolve as you grow. What you needed yesterday may no longer serve you today. Setting a boundary is not a one-time act, but a continuous practice of self-awareness and self-respect. It requires listening deeply to your own needs, understanding where your limits lie, and having the courage to communicate them clearly. The world may push, test, or misunderstand your limits, but the act of maintaining them is a daily affirmation that your peace matters more than proving yourself endlessly. Boundaries also teach resilience. They help you navigate challenges without losing yourself. They remind you that saying no is not rejection, but protection, that prioritizing yourself is not arrogance, but wisdom. The more you honor your boundaries, the more you cultivate an inner strength that does not depend on external validation. You begin to realize that your worth is inherent, that your life is not a performance, and that protecting your time and energy is a sacred responsibility. To live with boundaries is to embrace a soft life fully. It is to walk gently in the world while standing firm in your own truth. It is to choose peace over proving yourself, to let go of the exhausting need to meet every demand, and to create space for what truly matters. In honoring your own limits, you teach yourself and others that life is not about endless sacrifice, but about balance, integrity, and authenticity. You show that the courage to protect your soul is the truest form of strength, and that boundaries are the foundation upon which a life of peace and fulfillment is built. So set your boundaries not with guilt, but with love, not with fear, but with courage. Let them be the quiet declaration that your life, your energy, and your peace are worth protecting. In doing so, you embody a strength that does not need to prove itself and a soft life that is deeply, unapologetically yours. There is a subtle freedom that comes when you let go of comparison, a liberation that feels like breathing after holding your breath for far too long. From the moment we enter this world, we are taught to measure ourselves against others, to define our worth by how closely we match their successes, their beauty, their achievements. Social media conversations and even family expectations constantly whisper that if we are not as accomplished, as admired, as celebrated as someone else, then we are lacking. And in chasing this illusion, we lose sight of the one truth that matters. Your journey is yours alone, and it has value simply because it is yours. Letting go of comparison frees you to live authentically, to embrace your own rhythm, and to choose peace over proving yourself. Comparison is a subtle thief. It steals your joy, your confidence, and your energy, replacing them with doubt, insecurity, and exhaustion. You may find yourself constantly measuring your accomplishments, appearance, or relationships against some ideal set by others. And in that act, you forget that life is not a contest to win, but a journey to experience. Every step you take, every choice you make, every moment you breathe is unique to you. When you let go of the need to measure up, you create space for gratitude, for contentment, and for growth that is grounded in self-awareness rather than external validation. The soft life is born in this space, where your worth is not tied to comparison, but to the simple act of being. Letting go of comparison does not mean that you stop striving to grow or improve. On the contrary, it allows you to pursue growth from a place of love and curiosity rather than fear and pressure. When your motivation is not anchored in the need to outshine someone else, your efforts are infused with authenticity. You begin to recognize that your successes do not diminish the achievements of others, and their victories do not reduce your value. You understand that each person's path is unique, shaped by circumstances, choices, and timing that cannot be duplicated. To embrace your own journey fully is to honor your individuality and to acknowledge that proving yourself against others is never necessary. The freedom from comparison also opens the door to self-compassion. When you stop holding yourself to the standards of others, you can acknowledge your own struggles without judgment, celebrate your own victories without hesitation, and forgive yourself for the moments you stumble. You no longer chase an endless parade of approvals, likes, or praise. Instead, you cultivate a quiet confidence that comes from knowing that your life is enough, that your choices are valid, and that your existence is not contingent upon someone else's recognition. Every act of self-compassion strengthens your ability to live peacefully and softly, allowing you to prioritize your own well-being over the impossible task of constant validation. In letting go of comparison, you also begin to see the beauty in others without feeling diminished. The success, joy, and growth of others become inspiration rather than threat. You can cheer for their victories while still honoring your own journey. You recognize that life is not a zero-sum game, that someone else's light does not darken yours, and that your worth has never depended on outshining anyone. In this awareness, your interactions become kinder, your relationships more genuine, and your heart lighter. You begin to understand that peace is found not in competition, but in acceptance of yourself and others as they are. This release from comparison is a choice, a practice, and a daily act of courage. It requires vigilance, for the world will constantly present opportunities to measure, to judge, and to doubt. But each time you resist the pull to compare, you reclaim your power. You step off the treadmill of proving yourself to the endless gaze of others, and you step into a life guided by your own values, your own rhythm, and your own joy. You cultivate a soft life where your energy is devoted to growth, love, and peace rather than the exhausting pursuit of approval. Letting go of comparison is not a single act, it is a journey. It is the continual choice to honor your path, to embrace your own victories, and to recognize that your worth is inherent. It is the courage to prioritize your peace over proving yourself, to find contentment in your own story, and to trust that your life, with all its unique twists and turns, is enough. In releasing the need to compare, you step fully into a life of authenticity, serenity, and profound freedom. And in that freedom, you find the life you were always meant to live. There is a profound strength in prioritizing rest and calm, a power often overlooked in a world that glorifies business and constant achievement. We are conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to our productivity, that every waking moment must be spent proving ourselves, accomplishing more, and striving for recognition. The louder the world celebrates relentless effort, the quieter the voice within us that asks simply to breathe. But rest is not a luxury. Calm is not a surrender. They are essential foundations for a life that is sustainable, meaningful, and joyful. When you choose to honor your need for rest and seek moments of calm, you are making a conscious decision to protect your energy, your clarity, and your peace. You are choosing life over the relentless pressure to prove yourself. The body carries the echoes of stress, the wear of overexertion, and the tension of endless striving. Without rest, it falters. Without calm, the mind becomes cluttered with doubt, fear, and comparison. Choosing rest and calm is a radical act of self-respect. It says to yourself and to the world that your energy is precious, that your presence matters, and that you are worthy of care. It is the courage to step away from the constant noise of proving, the humility to acknowledge your limits, and the wisdom to understand that strength is not measured by exhaustion, but by the ability to sustain yourself over time. When you rest, you recharge. When you seek calm, you regain clarity. And from that place of renewed energy, your actions are more intentional, your decisions more aligned with your truth, and your presence more powerful. Prioritizing rest is also an act of resistance. It is a gentle refusal to be defined by the world's expectations, a declaration that your value does not depend on constant output. In allowing yourself to pause, you reclaim control over your life and your choices. You no longer respond to every demand, every call to prove yourself, every comparison that threatens to steal your peace. Instead, you respond from a place of wholeness, from a place of inner strength that has been nurtured by stillness and calm. In this way, rest becomes revolutionary, a quiet yet potent force that transforms not only your energy but the quality of your life. Calm, too, is transformative. It allows you to observe your thoughts without judgment, to respond rather than react, and to find clarity amidst chaos. The soft life thrives in calm because it creates space for reflection, creativity, and authentic connection. When you prioritize calm, you give yourself the opportunity to listen to your own needs, to honor your values, and to make choices that are in alignment with who you truly are rather than what the world demands. Peaceful moments are not empty. They are fertile grounds for insight, growth, and resilience. Choosing calm over proving yourself strengthens the mind, soothes the heart, and nurtures the spirit. There is also a ripple effect in choosing rest and calm. When you honor your own need for pause, You model a life that others can admire and learn from. You show that strength does not come from overexertion, that presence is more powerful than performance, and that peace can be chosen even in a world that constantly asks you to prove yourself. Those around you feel the impact of your centered energy. Relationships become deeper, decisions become wiser, and the overall quality of life improves. Choosing rest and calm is not retreating from responsibility. It is stepping fully into your capacity to live a life of meaning and influence without losing yourself in the process. The practice of prioritizing rest and calm requires patience and intention. It is a daily commitment to honor your own rhythm and to resist the pull of external pressures. It may feel uncomfortable at first, for the world often equates action with worth and stillness with laziness. But the more you practice, the more you recognize that true productivity, creativity, and joy are born not from exhaustion, but from balance. The more you choose peace over proving yourself, the more you cultivate a life that is rich in purpose, presence, and fulfillment. In prioritizing rest and calm, you are not only caring for yourself, you are cultivating the strength to face life with resilience and grace. You are nurturing the inner resources that allow you to respond to challenges with wisdom, to connect with others with authenticity, and to live a life that is meaningful on your own terms. You are proving to yourself that strength lies not in endless proving, but in honoring your own humanity. So embrace rest without guilt, seek calm without hesitation, and let your life be guided by the understanding that peace is the foundation of true strength. In choosing rest and calm, you are choosing the soft life, and in doing so, you discover the power and beauty of living fully without the need to prove yourself. There is a quiet magic in the way inner peace radiates outward, a subtle power that transforms not only your life, but the lives of those around you. When you choose calm over chaos, when you honor your own boundaries, and when you release the need to prove yourself, your energy shifts. It no longer hinges on approval, recognition, or comparison. Instead, it becomes steady, inviting, and grounded. People notice this energy, even if it is not spoken aloud. They feel it in the way you carry yourself, in the ease of your presence, and in the warmth of your interactions. Choosing the soft life is not a withdrawal from the world. It is a way of becoming a quiet force of influence, a source of calm that others unconsciously seek and respond to. Inner peace is a reflection of self-respect and self-awareness. When you cultivate it, you understand that your value is not dependent on the applause or judgment of others. You no longer need to prove yourself to feel worthy. This freedom allows you to move through the world with a steady heart, to respond to challenges with clarity rather than reaction, and to engage with others without the need to manipulate, impress, or compete. The energy of peace draws people naturally, for it is authentic and reassuring. In choosing peace, you are offering the world a model of strength that is gentle, resilient, and sustainable. When your inner world is calm, your actions become intentional. You are no longer driven by fear, anxiety, or the compulsion to constantly validate your worth. Decisions are made with clarity, relationships are nurtured with authenticity, and your presence becomes a source of comfort rather than tension. This radiance is not about performance or appearance. It is a reflection of alignment with your own truth. Others sense when a person is grounded in themselves, and that sense of stability is magnetic. The soft life teaches that influence does not always come from striving or proving. It often comes from simply being fully present and fully at peace. The ripple effect of inner peace extends far beyond your immediate sphere. When you operate from calmness, those around you begin to mirror that energy. Tension softens, conflicts are approached with patience, and communication becomes more genuine. Children, colleagues, friends, and family feel the steadiness you carry, and it encourages them to seek similar calm within themselves. You become a quiet teacher, not through words or instruction, but through presence. In a world that often rewards noise, chaos, and endless proving, this influence is revolutionary. It demonstrates that power and impact are not always loud or visible. They can be soft, steady, and profoundly transformative. Radiating peace also allows you to engage with the world more deeply. When your energy is no longer consumed by comparison, worry, or the need to justify yourself, you have space to truly connect, to listen, and to understand. Your empathy deepens, your insight sharpens, and your capacity to love grows. People are drawn to your authenticity because it is rare and refreshing. They sense that you are not seeking to dominate, to control, or to impress. You simply exist fully in your truth, and that existence is a gift to others. The soft life, grounded in inner peace, demonstrates that influence is not about how loudly you proclaim your worth, but about how firmly and gently you hold it within yourself. Cultivating this energy requires consistent practice and intentionality. It is not always easy, for the world often tests our resolve, challenges our boundaries, and invites us back into the cycle of proving and comparing. But each time you choose peace over proving yourself, you strengthen the core of who you are. You build resilience that cannot be shaken by criticism, setbacks, or the demands of others. Your calm becomes a foundation, not only for your own life, but for the lives of those who encounter you. In this way, the soft life is both protective and expansive. It safeguards your energy while allowing your influence to spread effortlessly. The most profound part of radiating inner peace is that it is self-reinforcing. The more you nurture it, the more it grows. The more you honor your boundaries, release the need for external validation, and prioritize calm, the more your energy naturally aligns with serenity and authenticity. Others will feel it, and they will respond, not because you asked them to, but because peace is contagious. Your presence becomes a silent teacher, a reminder that life does not always have to be a battle for recognition, that worth is inherent, and that choosing peace over proving oneself is one of the most courageous and impactful acts a person can make. So carry your calm with intention, nurture your inner peace with care, and allow it to flow outward naturally. In choosing peace over proving yourself, you become a quiet force of influence, a living testament to the strength and beauty of the soft life. There is a quiet revolution in choosing the soft life, a radical decision to honor yourself without apology and to live fully without proving your worth to anyone. In a world that celebrates struggle, competition, and constant demonstration of value, choosing gentleness and peace can feel daring. Yet it is precisely in this choice that true courage is found. The soft life is not about passivity or avoidance. It is an intentional way of living rooted in self-awareness, self-respect, and the understanding that your energy and your peace are precious. It is a decision to nurture your inner world, even when the outer world demands more, to stand firm in your truth even when it challenges societal expectations, and to embrace life with authenticity rather than pretense. To live the soft life is to recognize that proving yourself endlessly is a form of depletion. It is to understand that the relentless pursuit of validation often leaves the soul empty and the heart weary. Every act of striving to meet someone else's measure of worth takes energy away from your own growth, your own peace, and your own joy. By stepping away from this cycle, you allow yourself to reclaim what has been scattered, to restore what has been worn thin, and to align fully with your own truth. Choosing peace over proving yourself is not an act of surrender, it is an act of empowerment. It is a conscious declaration that your life matters, your time matters, and your spirit matters. The soft life teaches that strength is not measured by how loudly you assert your value, but by how steadily you honor your own needs. It asks you to cultivate boundaries, to nurture rest, and to prioritize self-care. Each of these choices reinforces a life that is intentional rather than reactive, deliberate rather than compelled by external pressures. The courage to say no, the humility to step back, and the wisdom to choose calm over chaos are not signs of weakness. They are markers of profound strength. They demonstrate an understanding that you are enough as you are, that your worth does not depend on constant proving, and that peace is a more powerful currency than approval. Choosing the soft life also transforms the way you relate to others. When you are not consumed by the need to prove yourself, you engage with the world more authentically. Your relationships are deeper, more honest, and more meaningful because you show up from a place of alignment rather than performance. People sense the difference. They feel the steadiness of your presence, the warmth of your authenticity, and the freedom of your energy. You no longer give to impress or to gain validation. You give because it aligns with your values and your heart. In doing so, you create a ripple effect, inspiring others to consider gentleness, authenticity, and peace as viable and even courageous ways of being. The soft life is not about escaping challenges. It is about facing them with clarity, resilience, and grace. When your energy is protected and your mind is calm, you are better equipped to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. You approach difficulties with wisdom rather than fear, with intention rather than pressure. You cultivate patience, understanding, and empathy, not at the expense of your own well-being, but alongside it. This approach allows for solutions that are sustainable, decisions that are grounded, and actions that honor both yourself and the world around you. Choosing peace over proving yourself strengthens not only your inner life, but the impact you have outwardly. There is also freedom in the soft life, a liberation from the unending need for recognition, comparison, and validation. This freedom allows you to explore your passions, your creativity, and your purpose without the weight of judgment or expectation. You become attuned to what truly matters to you, rather than what others think should matter. You learn to celebrate your own victories, small and large, and to trust that your journey is enough. In this way, the soft life is not indulgent, it is sacred. It nurtures your ability to live fully and authentically, offering a template for a life of peace that does not require the exhaustion of proving yourself. The soft life is a choice, a practice, and a declaration. It asks you to step off the treadmill of constant proving, to prioritize peace, and to honor your own worth with intention and courage. It is the quiet revolution that redefines strength, success, and influence. By embracing this life, you cultivate a resilience that is gentle but unshakable, a presence that is soft but profoundly impactful, and a soul that is calm yet unstoppable. So choose the soft life unapologetically. Stand firmly in your peace, nurture your spirit, and let your existence be a testament to the courage of living fully without the need to prove yourself. As we come to the close of this journey together, remember that the choice to embrace the soft life is not a retreat from the world, but a courageous step toward honoring your own heart. Choosing peace over proving yourself is a declaration of your worth, a recognition that your mind, body, and soul deserve care, and a commitment to live authentically, gently, and intentionally. Each act of setting boundaries, letting go of comparison, prioritizing rest, and nurturing your inner peace strengthens you and ripples outward, inspiring others without a word. The soft life is not selfish. It is sacred, it is powerful, and it is transformative. Carry this understanding with you, allow it to guide your choices, and let it remind you that your value has never been determined by the applause of others. Stand firmly in your peace, honor your journey, and allow your calm and authenticity to light the way for those around you. You have within you the courage to live fully, freely, and unapologetically. Good luck as you step into this life of intentional peace and quiet strength. Thank you for taking the time to embrace these words, to reflect, and to honor the soft, courageous life that is yours to live.
Good morning, everyone. There is power inside you, power that is waiting to be discovered, nurtured, and unleashed. Too often we doubt ourselves, wondering if we are worthy, if we are capable, if we are enough. But let me tell you something, you are enough. The journey to unlocking your potential begins with belief, not just belief in what you see today, but but in what you are capable of becoming. You were not placed in this world to remain small. You were made to rise, to shine, and to leave an imprint on this world that no one else can. Fear will try to hold you back. It will whisper doubts in your ear and tell you that you are not ready. But growth does not happen in comfort. Growth happens when you dare to step beyond fear, when you embrace the unknown with courage. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every dream fulfilled began with someone who refused to let fear decide their future. Your voice matters, your story matters, your dreams matter. Speak them into existence. Let the world hear your truth, because there is someone out there waiting for the inspiration only you can provide. But unlocking your potential is not just about reaching your own success, it is about lifting others as well. A rising tide lifts all ships. When you share your knowledge, when you encourage someone else, when you make space for others to shine, you are not just unlocking your own potential, you are unlocking the potential of an entire generation. Before you can unlock your potential, you must first believe in your worth. This is not just about confidence or self-esteem. It is about deeply understanding that you are valuable, that your existence has meaning, and that you are capable of achieving greatness. Too often we measure our worth by external standards, by what others think of us, by what society tells us we should be, by the successes or failures we've experienced. But the truth is, your worth is not defined by anyone else. It is not determined by the approval of others, nor by the mistakes you have made in the past. Your worth is something that exists within you, unshaken and unwavering, regardless of circumstances. Think about it. Have you ever seen a diamond in the rough? Covered in dirt, hidden beneath the surface, it may not look valuable at first glance. But does that mean it is not precious? Of course not. The diamond's value was always there, it simply needed to be uncovered, polished, and brought into the light. You are that diamond. Believing in your worth means silencing the voices, both external and internal, that tell you that you are not enough. It means rejecting the idea that you must earn the right to be valued. It means recognizing that whether or not you have reached your goals yet, you are still deserving of love, respect, and opportunities. When you truly believe in your worth, something incredible happens. You stop settling. You stop accepting less than what you deserve. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You start making choices that reflect your value, choosing relationships that uplift you, choosing careers that fulfill you, choosing to walk away from anything that does not honor the greatness within you. And most importantly, when you believe in your worth, you give others permission to do the same. You become an example, a beacon of light for those who are still struggling to see their own value. You remind them that they too are enough just as they are. So if you take nothing else from this message today, take this: you are worthy. Not because of what you have, not because of what you have done, but simply because you exist. And when you embrace that truth, when you own it fully, you unlock a power within you that no one can take away. Believe in your worth and watch how the world begins to reflect that belief right back at you. Fear is a natural part of life. It is that voice in the back of your mind that whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if they judge you? It is the invisible wall standing between where you are and where you want to be. But let me tell you something: fear is a liar. Fear wants to keep you small. It wants you to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid risks, to play it safe. But nothing great has ever been accomplished by those who let fear dictate their lives. Every dream fulfilled, every goal achieved, every success story ever told, all began with someone who refused to let fear win. Think about the people who inspire you, the leaders, the artists, the pioneers who changed the world. Do you think they never felt fear? Of course they did. The difference is they didn't let fear control them. They felt the fear and did it anyway. And so can you. Fear is tricky. It disguises itself as logic. It tells you maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe you should wait until you're more prepared. Maybe you're just not ready yet. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when you feel completely ready. If you wait for all your fears to disappear before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. The key to unlocking your potential is not eliminating fear, it's learning to move forward despite it. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a test. It asks you, how bad do you want this? Are you willing to push past the discomfort to reach your dreams? And let me tell you something powerful. The moment you face your fear, it begins to lose its power over you. The moment you step outside your comfort zone, you realize that fear was never as big as you imagined it to be. Fear thrives in the unknown, but once you step forward, once you take action, once you prove to yourself that you can survive the thing you were afraid of, you become unstoppable. Think of fear as a locked door. On the other side of that door is everything you've ever wanted: success, happiness, freedom, fulfillment. But the key to that door is courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else is more important than fear. So what are you afraid of? Is it failure? Let me remind you that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity to grow. You do not become strong by avoiding challenges. You become strong by facing them head on. Is it the fear of judgment? Understand this: people will always have opinions. Some will support you, some will doubt you, some will misunderstand you. But at the end of the day, it is not their life, it is yours. Do not let the fear of what others think rob you of your destiny. Or maybe you fear change. The unknown is scary, but do you know what's even scarier? Regret, looking back on your life and realizing that you let fear keep you from becoming who you were meant to be. Today, I challenge you to face your fears. Take the step, have the conversation, make the move, chase the dream. Because everything you want, everything you are capable of exists just beyond the fear you refuse to confront. And when you do face it, when you break through, you'll realize something incredible: fear never had the power. You did. Your voice is one of the most powerful tools you possess. It is more than just the sound that comes from your lips. It is the expression of your thoughts, your truth, your dreams, and your identity. Your voice has the power to inspire, to challenge, to heal, and to create change. But too often we silence ourselves. We hold back out of fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood. Let me tell you this: your voice matters, your story matters, your truth matters. The world needs your perspective, your experiences, and your unique way of seeing things. No one else has lived your life. No one else has walked your exact path. That means that the way you see the world, the lessons you've learned, and the wisdom you've gained are irreplaceable. But society teaches us to stay quiet. It tells us that speaking up is risky, that we should not challenge the status quo, that we should blend in rather than stand out. It convinces us that our voices are too small to make a difference. That is a lie. Some of the greatest movements in history began with one person speaking up, one person daring to tell the truth, one person refusing to be silent. Your voice does not have to be loud to be powerful. Some people speak through art, some through writing, some through the way they uplift others. Your voice is not just in your words, it is in your actions, your choices, and the way you live your life. Using your voice means standing up for what you believe in, even when it is difficult. It means refusing to be silent in the face of injustice. It means speaking kindly to yourself and refusing to let doubt control your inner dialogue. It means sharing your dreams with confidence and letting the world know that you exist, that you matter, that you have something to say. But using your voice also requires courage. You may not always be understood. You may face criticism. There may be times when it feels easier to stay silent. But remember this: every time you use your voice, you empower someone else to use theirs. When you speak up, you give others permission to do the same. When you refuse to back down, you inspire others to stand tall. So I ask you, what have you been holding back? What words have you swallowed? What dreams have you kept hidden? It is time to let them out. It is time to stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. It is time to stop waiting for permission to be heard. You were born with a voice for a reason. Use it. Speak your truth. Share your story. Stand up for what matters. Because when you do, you unlock not only your own potential, but the potential of those who are waiting to hear what only you can say. And remember, the world doesn't just need more noise. It needs your voice. Growth is not a destination, it is a lifelong journey. The moment we stop learning, we stop evolving. The moment we believe we have reached our peak, we limit ourselves from reaching even greater heights. If you want to unlock your true potential, you must commit to continuous learning and personal growth. But let's be honest, learning is not always easy. Growth is often uncomfortable. It challenges us to step beyond what we know, to stretch our minds, and to embrace the unfamiliar. It requires us to ask questions, to seek knowledge, and sometimes to unlearn things that no longer serve us. Knowledge is the key that opens doors. It gives you confidence, sharpens your abilities, and allows you to navigate the world with wisdom. But knowledge is not just found in books or classrooms, it is found in experiences, in conversations, in failures, and in moments of reflection. The most successful people in the world are not those who know everything, but those who never stop seeking to learn. Take a look at the greatest innovators and change makers. What do they all have in common? They are lifelong learners. They do not settle for what they already know. They actively seek new ideas, challenge their own thinking, and adapt to change. One of the biggest obstacles to growth is comfort. It is easy to stay in familiar places, doing things the way we have always done them. But growth does not happen in comfort zones. It happens when we push ourselves into new experiences, when we take risks, when we dare to try something different. Think about a seed planted in the ground. If it stays buried, refusing to break through the soil, it will never become a tree. Growth requires expansion, stretching, reaching, and sometimes even breaking through barriers. So ask yourself, when was the last time you did something for the first time? When was the last time you allowed yourself to be a beginner? The fear of looking foolish, of failing, or of struggling often holds people back from learning new things. But failure is not the opposite of growth, it is a part of it. Every mistake teaches you something. Every setback prepares you for a stronger comeback. Another powerful way to grow is by surrounding yourself with people who challenge and inspire you. If you are always the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Growth happens when you engage with people who push you to think differently, who expose you to new ideas, and who encourage you to become better. Never be afraid to ask questions. Never be too proud to learn from someone else, no matter their background or status. Wisdom can come from the most unexpected places: a stranger's story, a child's curiosity, a mentor's advice. Stay open, stay humble, stay willing to learn. Growth is not just about learning from the outside world, it is also about looking within. Take time to reflect on your journey. What have you learned from your past experiences? What patterns keep repeating in your life? What lessons have you been avoiding? Self-awareness is one of the greatest forms of growth. When you understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, and your dreams, you gain the power to shape your own future. Keep a journal. Meditate. Ask yourself hard questions. The more you understand yourself, the more you can grow into the person you are meant to be. Growth requires adaptability. The world is constantly changing, and those who refuse to learn and grow with it will be left behind. Do not fear change, embrace it. See it as an opportunity rather than a threat. Be willing to evolve, to adjust your perspective, and to reinvent yourself when necessary. At the end of the day, your potential is limitless. The only thing that can truly hold you back is the belief that you have already arrived. The truth is, there is always more to learn, more to experience, and more to become. So commit to lifelong learning. Stay curious. Keep challenging yourself. Never stop growing. Because every step you take in your growth journey unlocks new opportunities, new possibilities, and a future greater than you can imagine. Success is not just about what you accomplish for yourself, it is about how you help others rise along with you. True greatness is not measured by personal achievements alone, but by the impact you have on the lives of others. When you uplift those around you, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own journey. Too often, people believe that success is a competition, that if someone else wins, they must lose. But the truth is, there is enough success to go around. The world does not run out of opportunities, dreams, or possibilities. In fact, the more you help others grow, the more you grow yourself. Think about a time when someone believed in you, when they encouraged you, supported you, and helped you see your own potential. Maybe it was a teacher, a mentor, a friend, or even a stranger who said something that changed the way you saw yourself. That single moment of encouragement may have shaped the direction of your life. Now, imagine if you could be that person for someone else. Imagine if your words, your actions, or your support could inspire someone to chase their dreams, to push past their fears, or to believe in themselves. You have that power. A simple word of encouragement, a helping hand, or a moment of kindness can change someone's entire path. One of the greatest ways to lift others as you rise is to share what you know. Knowledge is power, and when you pass on what you have learned, you empower others to succeed as well. Whether it is through mentorship, guidance, or simply sharing your experiences, you can help others avoid the struggles you faced and accelerate their growth. Success is not about holding on to power, it is about passing the torch so that others can light their own path. The best leaders are not those who stand alone at the top, but those who bring others up with them. Opportunities are also meant to be shared. If you hear of a job opening, a scholarship, a resource, or a connection that could help someone else, do not keep it to yourself. Be the bridge that connects people to possibilities. Helping someone else succeed does not take anything away from you. It adds to the collective success of the world. It is easy to celebrate with people when they are winning, but true character is shown when you stand by them during their struggles. We all have moments of doubt, failure, and hardship. During those times, a kind word, a supportive presence, or even a simple "I believe in you" can make all the difference. Lifting others is not always about grand gestures. It is about being present, listening, and showing compassion. Sometimes people just need to know they are not alone. Be that person who stands in the gap, who offers support, and who reminds others of their strength. When you lift others as you rise, you are not just making a difference in one person's life, you are creating a legacy. The people you help today will go on to help others in the future. Your kindness, your mentorship, and your support can set off a chain reaction that impacts generations. Think of the leaders, teachers, and mentors who shaped history. They did not just focus on their own success, they invested in others, and because of that, their influence continues to live on. You have the ability to do the same. You do not have to be famous or wealthy to make a difference, you just have to care enough to extend a hand. We live in a world that often promotes competition over collaboration, but the truth is we rise higher when we rise together. When we work together, share ideas, and support one another, we create an environment where success is not just for the few, but for the many. Imagine a world where people cheered for each other instead of tearing each other down. Imagine a workplace where colleagues helped each other grow instead of competing for recognition. Imagine communities where people lifted one another instead of stepping over each other to get ahead. That kind of world starts with you. There is an unmatched joy that comes from seeing someone else succeed because of your encouragement, support, or mentorship. When you help others, you do not just make their lives better, you enrich your own. There is no greater reward than knowing that you played a role in someone else's success. So as you rise, look around. Who can you uplift? Who can you mentor? Who needs encouragement? Success is not just about reaching the top, it is about making sure others can reach it too. Because when you lift others, you don't just rise, you soar. Life is full of challenges. At some point, we all face obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. that test our strength and resilience. The road to success is rarely smooth. It is paved with struggles, failures, and detours. But the true measure of a person is not how many times they fall, it is how they rise again. It is not just about perseverance, it is about persevering with grace. To persevere means to keep going, to push forward despite difficulties, to refuse to give up when things get hard. But perseverance with grace, that is something deeper. It is the ability to face adversity without bitterness, to move through struggles without losing yourself, and to handle failures with dignity. It is having the strength to endure, but also the wisdom to do so with patience, humility, and courage. It is easy to keep moving forward when everything is going well, but what happens when life throws you a curveball? When doors close, when things do not go according to plan, this is where perseverance is tested. And this is where grace comes in. Many people fear failure, seeing it as a sign of weakness or inadequacy. But failure is not the end, it is a lesson. Some of the most successful people in history failed countless times before achieving greatness. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is graceful perseverance. Instead of beating yourself up over mistakes, approach them with understanding. Instead of seeing failure as proof that you are not good enough, see it as evidence that you are trying, learning, growing. Each setback is an opportunity to adjust, to refine your strategy, to build resilience. You only truly fail when you stop trying. When life is tough, it is tempting to become bitter. It is easy to take out our frustrations on others, to grow resentful, to let hardship harden us. But persevering with grace means choosing kindness even in difficult times. No matter what you are going through, remember your struggles do not define you, your response to them does. Do not allow difficult times to turn you into someone you are not. Hold on to your values. Stay kind. Treat people with respect, even when you are struggling, because in the end, the way you handle adversity speaks volumes about your character. Graceful perseverance is not just about pushing through at all costs. It is about knowing when to shift, when to adapt, and when to let go. There is strength in determination, but there is also strength in flexibility. Sometimes we hold on so tightly to one specific path that we fail to see the new doors opening around us. Perseverance with grace means recognizing that sometimes the best thing you can do is adjust your approach without giving up on your purpose. If one path is blocked, find another way forward. If something is not working, be willing to learn and evolve. Staying true to your dreams does not mean being rigid, it means being resilient. There will be moments when you feel like quitting, moments when progress feels slow, when the weight of your struggles feels unbearable. But remember, every challenge you face is preparing you for something greater. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and realize that the obstacles you overcame made you stronger, wiser, and more capable. Persevering with grace means having faith in the journey. It means trusting that, even when things do not make sense, you are still moving forward. It means holding your head high, even in the face of uncertainty, and reminding yourself that you were built for this. When people look back at your life, they will not just remember what you achieved, they will remember how you carried yourself along the way. They will remember how you handled setbacks, how you treated others in difficult times, how you refused to let hardships steal your joy. Success is not just about reaching the finish line, it is about who you become in the process. It is about rising with dignity, walking with integrity, and never letting circumstances define your worth. So whatever you're facing today, keep going, keep pushing forward, but do it with grace. Do it with patience. Do it with kindness. And remember, strength is not just in endurance, it is in the way you carry yourself through the storm. Persevere, not just with force, but with grace, because that is the kind of strength that lasts. Unlocking your potential is not about waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect version of yourself. It is about stepping into your power right now, believing in your worth, facing your fears, using your voice, committing to lifelong growth, lifting others as you rise, and persevering with grace. Your potential is limitless, but it is up to you to unlock it. No one else can do it for you. No one else can tell your story, walk your path, or fulfill your purpose. You were born with gifts, talents, and a voice that is uniquely yours. Do not let doubt or fear keep you from stepping into the greatness that is already within you. The world does not need more people playing small. It does not need more voices silenced by fear. It needs you. It needs your passion, your courage, your ideas, and your dreams. It needs you to show up fully, to embrace the challenges that come your way, and to keep pushing forward, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. And as you rise, remember, true success is not just about what you accomplish for yourself, it is about how you uplift others along the way. The legacy you leave will not just be in the things you achieve, but in the lives you touch, the voices you inspire, and the paths you help clear for those who come after you. So I ask you today, are you ready to unlock your potential? Are you ready to believe in yourself, to step into your power, and to embrace the greatness that is waiting for you? If so, then start now. Start where you are, with what you have, and with the belief that you are more than enough. Because you are, and the world is waiting for you to shine.
My brothers and my sisters, I want you to stop whatever you're doing and lean in close. Yes, right now. Because this is not just another day. This is a call deep in the belly of your soul. Urgent, the voice came. Live like today is the only promise you have. Because it is. That isn't just poetic talk or something to stitch into a pillow. It's truth, raw and pressing. You don't have the luxury of forever, and God is not obligated to give you another sunrise. We spend so much of our lives waiting on the right moment, waiting on approval, waiting for fear to quiet down. But the waiting room is a trap, and time doesn't wait for you to feel ready. As you woke up today, then today is your gift. It's not guaranteed, it's not owed, it's not small. It is sacred. And God gave it to you with an urgent whisper. Move now, my child. Tomorrow isn't safe. He didn't say it to scare you. He said it to wake you. Because something is coming that will shake the earth beneath your feet, and if you are not rooted in purpose, you will be swept away by panic. This moment, this breath, it holds more power than we often realize. What you do today may echo forever. The apology you've been meaning to give. The dream you've buried for years, the truth you've been too afraid to speak. All of it is now. You are not promised time to circle back. If the doors are opening today, walk through them. If your heart is stirring, answer it. If you've been hearing that soft, inner voice telling you to move, move. We often think we have time to get it right, to clean it up, to be brave later. But time is not a guarantee, it's a grace. And grace does not arrive in bulk. It comes in daily portions. God is not waiting for your perfection. He's asking for your obedience. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Because tomorrow may hold storms you cannot see. Tomorrow may never open its arms. Tomorrow may shut its door for good. And if danger is coming, if shadows are rising, then you don't respond by hiding. You don't run for comfort. You prepare with boldness. You stand tall with truth. You love louder, forgive faster, dream wider. You stop putting your purpose on hold and realize that the time for impact is this breath, right here. Don't waste it. Don't squirrel it away. Don't numb it with distractions. Don't silence it with doubt. You are not too broken. You are not too late. And you do not need perfect clarity to begin. You need only a willing heart and a spirit that trusts that if God brought this word to you, He meant it. He meant for you to rise. He meant for you to stop waiting. He meant for you to stop hiding behind someday and start choosing today, because today is holy. Today is powerful. Today is all you've been given. Let your steps match the urgency of the call. Let your voice carry the fire of purpose. Let your actions show heaven that you heard what God said and you did not ignore it. Because if tomorrow isn't safe, then today must be lived like it's everything. And that's because it is. Delayed purpose is silent disobedience. Act now. That truth doesn't come easy, but it comes clear. When God places something on your heart, a calling, a message, a mission, He doesn't do it for your convenience. He does it with a divine urgency because heaven sees what's coming long before you do. And when you delay what you were born to do, you may not realize it, but you're turning down the volume on God's voice. That hesitation, that procrastination, it might feel harmless, even justified, but it becomes a quiet rebellion against the very reason you were created. We dress it up in pretty excuses. We say we're waiting on clarity, waiting for the right moment, waiting until we feel qualified, but all the while, the world is waiting on your yes. People are struggling in the dark, and your light is meant to guide them. You were assigned to shift something, to lift someone, to break a pattern, to build a path, and every moment you delay that assignment, the ripple you were meant to create fades a little more. There is nothing casual about purpose. It's not a hobby or a Sunday project. It's a divine instruction. And when heaven says move, it's not asking, it's commanding. Not because God is harsh, but because He sees danger ahead. He sees the storm building, the pain rising, the need growing. And He picked you to respond to it. He trusted you with the answers, so when you delay, you're not just waiting, you're withholding. You see, disobedience doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's quiet. It smiles. It nods. It pretends to be wisdom, patience, strategy, but in truth it's fear. And fear loves to dress up as caution. But God didn't call you to caution. He calls you to courage. And courage doesn't always feel good, but it moves anyway. It doesn't need all the answers. It just needs the conviction to act when it's time. And the time is now. Because when God says tomorrow is not safe, He's not saying that to paralyze you. He's saying it to activate you. That stirring you feel in your chest, that tug in your spirit, it's not confusion, it's confirmation. It's the reminder that your delay doesn't make the danger disappear. It just leaves you unprepared for it. And the longer you wait, the heavier the weight becomes. Some of us are asking God to move mountains while refusing to move our feet. Some are praying for signs when the sign has already been given. It's in the urgency of the moment. It's in the breath you still have. It's in the very words that spoke to you. Tomorrow is not safe. And if that doesn't wake something inside you, then I don't know what will. Because this isn't about fear. It's about faith. It's about trusting that when God says act now, it's because later will cost too much. Later might find you in the middle of a storm you were meant to prepare for today. So speak now, build now, forgive now, love now, move now. Don't let fear rob you of the legacy you were born to leave. Don't let hesitation turn into regret. God already gave the instruction. Now it's your turn to obey. And obedience, even quiet and trembling, is still power in motion. Because delayed purpose may be silent to the world, but heaven hears it loud. When God warns, it's not to scare you, it's to prepare you. That voice you heard, that stirring you felt in the quiet, that sudden weight on your spirit, it wasn't fear knocking, it was love. Divine love doesn't sit back while you drift through life unaware of what's coming. It doesn't stay silent when storms begin to gather. God speaks when it matters most. And when He says, tomorrow is not safe, He's not trying to shake your confidence. He's trying to awaken your courage. We get so used to ignoring that gentle nudge, don't we? So used to brushing off the warning signs, pushing aside the inner tug that tells us something's not right. But God doesn't deal in chaos. He doesn't speak to confuse. He speaks to prepare. Because He knows what's ahead. He sees the things your eyes haven't yet caught. He sees the challenges rising, the doors closing, the hearts shifting, and in his mercy, he whispers, or sometimes roars, "Get ready." But too many of us treat those warnings like background noise. We say maybe later. We wait for louder confirmations, more signs, another opportunity. But when heaven speaks, it's not out of panic. It's out of protection. He wants to align you, not alarm you. He wants to build your strength before the world tests it. He wants your spirit steady before the winds howl. That's why he speaks in urgency. Not to frighten you, but to fortify you. When God says tomorrow is not safe, it isn't a threat. It's a gift. It's a chance to shift your focus, to take your eyes off the distractions and plant your feet in purpose. It's a moment to ask, what have I been putting off? What do I need to face today that I've been running from? Because you don't prepare when the danger arrives. You prepare before. You armor your spirit now. You sharpen your discernment now. You tighten your circle now. Think about all the moments God warned you before. Quiet little alarms in your spirit. Times you felt unsettled and didn't know why. Times you were redirected, delayed, detoured. That wasn't bad luck. That was protection. That was a God who knew what you couldn't see, a God who loved you enough to inconvenience your plans to preserve your life. And yet we still doubt, don't we? Still ask, what if it's just my fear talking? But real fear paralyzes you. God's voice prepares you. It moves you to action. It makes you stand up straighter, walk with more urgency, speak with more clarity. And if something dangerous is coming, you don't run. You respond. You step into alignment with the one who holds tomorrow in his hands. You don't need to see the whole map to move. You just need to trust the voice that knows the way. So when the warning comes, don't brush it off. Don't silence it with busyness or bury it under distractions. Tune in. Listen close. Because when God says move, it's always for a reason. When he says prepare, it's always out of love. And when he says tomorrow is not safe, it's because today is still open to you. Today still holds power, still holds grace, still holds the path forward. Let that be enough for you to take the next step now, before the storm comes, before the door closes, before the moment passes. The real danger isn't out there. It's you ignoring the voice within. We spend so much of our lives looking outward, watching for signs in the world, pointing at what's wrong with society, blaming timing, people, politics, and circumstances. But the true storm isn't always external. It often begins inside, quietly, invisibly, when we start dismissing the whisper of our own soul. That's the danger we never see coming. The danger of deafening ourselves to divine direction. When God speaks, he doesn't always shout. He doesn't always shake the ground beneath your feet or send thunder from the sky. Most times he speaks in a still, small voice, right in the middle of your silence. It's that inner knowing, that spiritual tug, that sacred unrest. And too many of us have learned how to silence it. We bury it under distractions, drown it in noise, dismiss it as doubt. But ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It only makes us unprepared. You can be watching the news, scrolling through feeds, analyzing the world's chaos, and still miss the fact that the greatest urgency is within you. It's not what the world does, it's what you don't do when you know better. That's the true danger. Not the storm, but your refusal to build shelter. Not the war, but your decision not to pick up your armor. Not the darkness, but your choice not to light the flame you were born with. You may think, I'll act when I see the thread, but by then it may be too late. The call isn't to react to the world, it's to respond to the voice inside you. The one God placed in you before the noise ever started. That voice that tells you, speak up. That voice that says, go now. That voice that pushes you to love deeper, to forgive quicker, to live fuller. It's not just your conscience, it's your calling speaking. Every time you silence that voice, you dim your light. Every time you tell it not yet, you lose a piece of your power. And that right there is the danger that nobody warns you about. the quiet fading of your fire, the slow death of your obedience, the gradual erosion of your purpose while you look for confirmation everywhere, except inside your own home. Because truthfully, the enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs you to ignore the voice that leads you. He just needs you distracted, doubtful, delayed, and you'll walk straight into storms you weren't meant to face. Not because you didn't see them coming, but because you didn't listen when the warning was already within. God said tomorrow is not safe, not because he wants to stir fear, but because he wants to wake you from numbness. He's saying stop looking out there, start listening in here. Because inside of you is where the battle begins. Inside is where the war is won or lost. And if you can tune into that voice, if you can honor the nudge, the call, the inner stirring, then it doesn't matter what danger rises on the horizon. You'll be ready, steady, grounded. You won't be caught by surprise. You'll be walking in obedience. You'll be aligned with the truth that doesn't just prepare you, it protects you. And so quiet the world if you have to. Turn down the volume on the noise. And lean into what's already speaking from deep within your soul. Because the real danger is never the storm. It's the silence that comes from ignoring the voice that was meant to guide you through it. You don't need more time, you need more courage. That's the truth we often avoid. We pretend that time is the issue. We tell ourselves we just need one more week, one more sign, one more open door. But it's not time we're missing. It's the bravery to step into what we already know we're meant to do. Time won't make you bolder. Waiting won't build your strength. What you need is the courage to act, even when the road ahead is unclear. We've all felt it. That hesitation that creeps in when purpose calls. That fear that whispers you're not ready yet. But if you wait until you're fearless to begin, you'll never begin at all. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something matters more than fear. And when God says tomorrow is not safe, he's not telling you to wait. He's telling you to move now, not because you're fully prepared, but because you're finally willing to trust him over your excuse. The time you're waiting for will never arrive with perfect conditions. The truth is, the longer you wait, the more comfortable fear becomes. It settles in. It convinces you that timing is everything, that conditions must align, that one day you'll suddenly feel ready. But God's instruction isn't built on your comfort. It's built on your calling. And calling requires courage, not convenience. We ask for more time like it will somehow erase the need for faith. But faith doesn't grow in delay, it grows in motion. It's built when you step out, even when your knees are shaking, even when your voice trembles, even when everything in you says, this is too much. That's the exact moment courage is born. And it doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be honest. You say you need time, but time is already being given to you. This very breath is a chance. This moment is a window. And if God is saying the danger is coming, he's not trying to pressure you. He's trying to position you. He's trying to prepare you to stand firm when the wind howls and the shadows stretch. And preparation doesn't always come with time. It comes with decision. It comes with saying, I may not feel ready, but I will not let fear speak louder than faith. Courage isn't about being certain. It's about being obedient. And that's what heaven is waiting for. Not your perfection, not your timeline. Your yes, your now. Because when you delay out of fear, you're not just pausing your growth, you're pausing the impact God wants to make through you. And if tomorrow holds storms, if tomorrow isn't promised, then today must be honored like the sacred ground it is. So dig deep. Not for more time, but for more truth. The truth that you are stronger than your doubt. That you were born with fire in your bones, that everything you need to take the next step is already within you, and that time, while precious, cannot replace the power of courage. Stop asking the clock for permission. Stop waiting on life to slow down. The danger is not in the lack of hours. It's in the lack of heart. and your heart is ready, even if your mind isn't. So take the steps, speak the words, begin the work. The time you think you need is already here. Now it's just courage that must rise. Move now. Heaven speaks in urgency, not convenience. When heaven sends a word, it doesn't come softly just to decorate your thoughts. It comes with weight, with fire, with instruction. And when that word says tomorrow is not safe, you don't wait for a better moment, you move. Not because it feels easy, not because all the lights are green, but because when heaven speaks, delay becomes disobedience and hesitation becomes a missed appointment with destiny. We live in a world that worships convenience. We want the timing to feel right, the emotions to line up, the plan to look clear. But the voice of God doesn't operate on our comfort zones. He doesn't wait until you're done being tired, until your schedule clears, until fear takes a vacation. When he says move now, he means even in the middle of your mess, even while your hands are shaking, even when you don't have it all figured out, because the call isn't about your ability, it's about your response. It's not about being the strongest, the smartest, or the most prepared. It's about being the most willing. Heaven is looking for the heart that says, even if it costs me comfort, I will go. Even if it costs me applause, I will obey. Even if it costs me understanding, I will trust. We waste too many divine moments waiting for conditions to match our expectations. But what if the power isn't in the perfect timing? It's in the obedient timing. What if moving before you feel ready is the very thing that unlocks what's been waiting for you? What if the doors don't open until your feet start moving? There is an urgency in the spirit that cannot be ignored. And when you feel it, when you feel that nudge, that stirring, that inner shake, you don't pause to overthink, you pause to pray, and then you proceed. Heaven doesn't stutter when it speaks. God doesn't send messages for you to file away and review later. When he speaks in urgency, it's because something is shifting. Something is approaching. Something is coming that demands you be in motion before it arrives. This isn't panic. It's preparation, it's divine alignment, it's heaven rearranging things so you don't miss your moment. You don't get to control the timing of the storm, but you do control how you respond to the warning. Will you sit back and wait for the world to approve? Or will you trust that if heaven said, move now, then now is the safest, holiest, most powerful place you can be? Think of all the times you delayed out of fear. Think of the blessings you prayed for but didn't step toward. Think of the purpose you felt deep inside, but kept putting off for a day that never came. And now, with heaven declaring the urgency, the question is not can you move, it's will you. Convenience was never part of the promise. Obedience was. And the blessing is tied not to your timing, but to your response time. God's not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be present, to be willing, to be bold enough to act, even when the world says, wait. So don't wait. Don't delay. Don't ask the storm to slow down so you can catch up. Move now, because heaven doesn't rush unless it's time. So now you've heard it. The warning wasn't meant to frighten. It was meant to wake you. God said tomorrow is not safe, not because he wants you paralyzed, but because he wants you prepared. The danger may be on the horizon, but the power to respond is already in your hands. You don't need more time. You need more courage. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You need to honor the one you have right now. And above all, you must remember the real threat is not the storm outside, but the silence within when you choose not to listen, not to move. The emotion, commission, is not to listen, not to obey. This is your call to action, to rise up with purpose, to tune in to the voice that's been whispering in your spirit, to understand that heaven doesn't speak in convenience, it speaks in urgency because it knows what's ahead. So don't wait. Don't delay your purpose one more day. Live today like it's all you've been given, because it might be. May strength find you in your hesitation. May clarity rise in your confusion, and may you walk boldly into the unknown with faith as your guide. Good luck on your journey. Be brave, be present, and above all, be obedient. Thank you for listening. Now go and move like heaven is watching.
Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, I'm not enough? Maybe you've questioned your worth because of a flaw you think is too big to overcome, or a mistake you wish you could undo. If so, I invite you to pause and breathe, because today we are here to celebrate something beautiful: the fact that we are all perfectly imperfect. To embrace your flaws is one of the most liberating and empowering decisions you can make. It means looking at yourself, the whole of yourself, and accepting every piece, every scar, every so-called imperfection as an essential part of who you are. This is not easy. We live in a world that constantly measures us against unattainable ideals of perfection. Social media, advertisements, and even our own inner critic often highlight what we lack rather than what we have. But what if we reframe the narrative? What if we stop seeing flaws as shortcomings and start recognizing them as part of what makes us beautifully human? Consider this. What is a flaw, really? Is it a mark of failure, or is it simply a mark of individuality? The small gap in your smile, the birthmark on your cheek, the mistakes you've made in the past, they don't detract from your worth. They tell a story. They tell your story. Embracing your flaws begins with self-awareness. It requires looking inward and acknowledging not just what you like about yourself, but also the things you may wish were different. This is not about settling or giving up on growth. It's about recognizing that your worth is not defined by your ability to check every box on some imaginary list of perfection. Your flaws are like the knots in a piece of wood. They may seem like imperfections to some, but they give the wood character and strength. Without those knots, the wood would lack its unique beauty. In the same way, your flaws give you depth. They make you relatable. They make you real. When you embrace your flaws, you take away their power to shame you. You stop apologizing for being yourself. You stop hiding behind masks. Instead, you stand tall, unapologetically owning every part of who you are. This doesn't mean you stop striving for self-improvement. It means you approach growth from a place of self-love rather than self-criticism. Think of the people you admire most. Chances are it's not their perfection that draws you to them, but their authenticity. It's their ability to acknowledge their flaws, to share their vulnerabilities, and to be real. Their imperfections make them approachable, relatable, and inspiring. When you embrace your flaws, you give others permission to do the same. You create space for deeper, more meaningful connections. Embracing your flaws is also about resilience. It's about understanding that your worth is not diminished by your mistakes. Every stumble and every failure is a stepping stone on the path of growth. Each imperfection is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to become stronger. So, the next time you look in the mirror and see something you wish were different, pause. Remind yourself that you are not defined by the world's narrow standards of beauty or success. You are defined by your kindness, your courage, your integrity, and your ability to love yourself and others despite imperfections. To embrace your flaws is to embrace your humanity, is to accept that you are a work in progress, a masterpiece still being painted, and that every stroke, no matter how imperfect, adds to the beauty of the final picture. And that picture, it is uniquely, wonderfully, and unmistakably you. Vulnerability is often viewed as a weakness, something that should be avoided or hidden. In a society that values strength, independence, and stoicism, showing vulnerability can sometimes feel like exposing a fragile part of ourselves that we'd rather keep guarded. We fear that by revealing our weaknesses, our fears, our imperfections, we may be judged, criticized, or even rejected. But what if we've been looking at vulnerability all wrong? What if, instead of being a sign of weakness, it is actually a source of profound strength? The true strength in vulnerability lies in the courage it takes to be open, It's not easy to let your guard down, to expose the parts of you that feel raw or unpolished, yet it is precisely in this act of openness that we find our greatest potential for connection, growth, and healing. Vulnerability isn't about being fragile. It's about being real, authentic, and honest with ourselves and others. It's about having the courage to say, this is who I am, flaws and all, and trusting that it's okay to be imperfect. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others the permission to do the same. We create a space where honesty can flourish, where emotions can be expressed freely, and where relationships can deepen. It's in those moments of shared vulnerability that we experience some of the most meaningful connections we can have with one another. When someone opens up to you about their struggles, their doubts, or their pain, it invites you into their world in a way that nothing else can. Shows you that they trust you enough to let down their walls, and in return, it encourages you to do the same. Vulnerability nurtures empathy, understanding, and compassion, building bridges where there were once walls. This vulnerability, this willingness to be seen in our rawest, most unfiltered form is not a sign of fragility. It's a mark of strength. It requires an immense amount of inner resilience to be vulnerable. It takes a powerful kind of person to show up authentically in the face of fear, to say, I am enough, even with all my imperfections. It takes strength to admit that we don't have all the answers, that we are not always in control, and that we too need help sometimes. It takes strength to be honest with ourselves about our struggles, our flaws, and our limitations. In fact, vulnerability is often the key to growth. When we allow ourselves to acknowledge our weaknesses or our mistakes, we open the door to self-reflection and learning. We become more aware of who we are and where we need to grow. Vulnerability creates space for healing because it allows us to face our fears and insecurities head on instead of hiding from them. When we are vulnerable, we are more likely to seek support when needed, whether from others or from within ourselves. And in that process, we become stronger. Think about the moments in your life when you have allowed yourself to be vulnerable. Whether it was opening up to a friend about your struggles, admitting a mistake at work, or sharing your dreams and fears with a loved one. It's in those moments that you've likely felt the most connection, the most compassion, and the most love. You may have also felt a deep sense of freedom, as though a weight has been lifted. There is a certain power in vulnerability that cannot be replicated by hiding behind a facade or pretending to be someone you're not. When you show up as your true self, flaws, fears, and all, you invite others to do the same, creating a world that values authenticity over perfection. Vulnerability also opens the door to personal growth and transformation. It's in moments of vulnerability that we are able to confront our deepest fears and limitations. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we step outside of our comfort zones and face the unknown. It's here in this uncertain space that real growth happens. The very act of exposing ourselves to vulnerability teaches us to embrace uncertainty and to trust that even if we fail, we will emerge stronger. It's in the process of failing and rising again that we learn to build resilience, compassion, and inner strength. In relationships, vulnerability is the foundation for trust and intimacy. Without vulnerability, there can be no real connection. We cannot truly know or be known by others if we are unwilling to show our true selves. The walls we build around ourselves may protect us from being hurt, but they also isolate us from the richness of human connection. When we let our walls down, we allow others to see us for who we truly are, and it is in this seeing and being seen that we experience the fullness of what it means to be alive, to be loved, and to be part of something greater than ourselves. The strength and vulnerability is not about being perfect or invulnerable. It's about embracing the courage to be real, to be human, and to accept that our imperfections do not define our worth. Our flaws do not diminish our value. Rather, they add to the tapestry of who we are, making us complex, unique, and beautifully human. Vulnerability invites us to show up as we are, knowing that we are enough, even in our brokenness. It allows us to connect with others, to grow, and to heal. So the next time you feel the urge to hide your vulnerabilities or put on a mask to protect yourself, remember this: true strength is found in vulnerability. It is in your willingness to be open, to embrace your imperfections, and to allow others to see you in your most authentic form that you will discover the incredible power of being truly, deeply yourself. In our pursuit of success and happiness, we are often taught to focus on perfection. We are encouraged to strive for flawless outcomes, whether in our careers, relationships, or personal lives. But what if the very thing that allows us to grow is not perfection, but imperfection? What if our imperfections are not obstacles to be overcome, but essential ingredients in the process of becoming who we are meant to be? Growth through imperfection is a profound concept, one that challenges the conventional notion that perfection is the only path to achievement and fulfillment. The reality is that imperfection, with all its messiness and unpredictability, is the fertile soil in which growth takes root. It's in the mistakes we make, the setbacks we experience, and the moments we feel most vulnerable that we discover the lessons that shape us and guide us toward becoming better versions of ourselves. Consider the process of learning something new, whether it's a skill, a craft, or a mindset. You don't learn by avoiding mistakes, you learn by making them. Every misstep is a chance to recalibrate, to rethink, and to adjust your approach. When we strive for perfection, we create an environment where failure feels like a personal affront, something to be avoided at all costs. But when we embrace imperfection, we shift our perspective. We understand that failure isn't something to fear, it's something to learn from. Each mistake is an opportunity to refine our approach, to deepen our understanding, and to enhance our skills. Through imperfection, we grow. I weaponized the equation of fear, but growth through imperfection doesn't only apply to skills or achievements. It also shapes our character and emotional resilience. Life is not a straight path. It's a winding road filled with twists and turns, moments of clarity and confusion, peaks and valleys. When we encounter challenges or face difficulties, our first instinct might be to push through them as quickly as possible or to wish they hadn't happened at all. But in truth, these moments of imperfection, these moments of struggle are what build our strength. It's in the difficult times that we learn perseverance, patience, and the importance of resilience. Without these challenges, we would never know how capable we are of handling adversity. Imperfection teaches us that even when things aren't going as planned, we are still moving forward, growing and evolving. Think about a tree growing in the wild. It doesn't grow in a perfectly symmetrical shape, nor does it avoid the stormy weather. The tree grows in all kinds of conditions: rain, drought, wind, and sun, and it adapts to the environment around it. Its growth is not linear, nor is it without challenge. It's the harsh weather, the seasons of struggle that help the tree grow stronger and taller. Similarly, our imperfections, the challenges we face, the mistakes we make, serve as the winds that shape us, pushing us to stretch further, to evolve, and to reach for higher ground. Without them, we would never reach our full potential. Growth through imperfection also involves letting go of the need to control every outcome. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we plan or strive for perfection, we cannot control everything. Learning to embrace the imperfections of life means accepting the unexpected, the unplanned, and the unknown. It means being willing to adapt and pivot when things don't go according to plan. It's about realizing that sometimes the detours in life, the moments of uncertainty, are not failures. They are opportunities for transformation. In fact, some of the most profound personal growth happens when we let go of the need for everything to be perfect and simply allow life to unfold as it will. The moments when we are least prepared, least in control, often turn out to be the ones that teach us the most about ourselves. We may find that the challenges we face, the imperfections we encounter, lead us to deeper self-awareness, a more compassionate outlook, and a greater sense of gratitude for what we have. Growth through imperfection also requires self-compassion. It's easy to be harsh on ourselves when things don't go as planned or when we make mistakes. But beating ourselves up for being imperfect only slows down our growth. Self-compassion is the key to moving forward. When we show ourselves kindness in the face of failure, when we forgive ourselves for not being perfect, we create the space for growth to occur. Rather than seeing imperfection as something to be ashamed of, we can view it as a natural and necessary part of the human experience. It's a reminder that we are not machines, but people who are always learning, always evolving, and always growing. As we navigate through life, we begin to realize that imperfection is not something that holds us back, it's what propels us forward. It's through imperfection that we discover our resilience, our creativity, our ability to adapt, and our capacity for empathy. It's through imperfection that we learn who we truly are and what we are truly capable of. Every mistake, every setback, every imperfect moment is a step forward on the path to personal growth. Embracing imperfection means letting go of unrealistic expectations and accepting that we don't have to be perfect to be worthy, capable, or successful. It means recognizing that our imperfections are what make us human, and ultimately, it is through the imperfections of life that we grow, not just in the skills we develop, but in the ways we understand ourselves and the world around us. So the next time you face a challenge, a failure, or a moment of imperfection, remember this: you are not being held back. You are being shaped. Your growth is happening right now in the midst of all the imperfect moments, the mistakes, the setbacks, and the lessons. Embrace it all, because it is in the imperfection of life that we truly discover our strength, our potential, and our power to grow. In a world that often feels divided by differences, whether those differences are cultural, racial, religious, or ideological, it can be easy to lose sight of the thread that binds us all together. We may focus so intensely on what separates us that we forget what unites us. And yet, in our shared humanity, we find the deepest connection and the greatest strength. At our core, we all experience the same fundamental emotions: joy, sorrow, love, fear, hope, and despair. We all in some way face struggles, challenges, and triumphs. We all seek belonging, understanding, and connection. Though our paths may differ, we are bound by these universal experiences that make us human. We are more alike than we often allow ourselves to realize. When we recognize the common threads that run through each of us, regardless of where we come from, what we look like, or what we believe, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of unity. The beauty of shared humanity is that, despite our individual circumstances and differences, we are all part of a greater whole. We are all interconnected, woven together in an intricate tapestry of lives, stories, and experiences. The very act of being human connects us, and it is in this connection that we find strength, resilience, and the power to create positive change. The notion of unity in shared humanity goes beyond simply acknowledging our commonality. It calls us to action. It challenges us to see others not as strangers, but as fellow travelers on this journey of life. It asks us to recognize that the pain of one is the pain of many, and the joy of one is the joy of many. When we understand that we are all part of the same human family, we cannot help but feel a sense of responsibility for each other's well-being. Unity in shared humanity means caring for others, not because we share their exact circumstances, but because we know that their struggles and triumphs resonate with our own. Consider, for example, the way that global movements for social justice and human rights have gained momentum. When we see others, whether in our own communities or across the world, suffering from injustice, inequality, or oppression, we recognize that their pain is not just theirs alone. It is ours too. Their fight is our fight. Their liberation is our liberation. In moments of collective action, we see the power of unity. People coming together across lines of difference, united by the shared understanding that we are all deserving of dignity, respect, and equality. Through the lens of shared humanity, we find the courage and the will to stand together, to speak up for justice, and to work toward a world where all are treated with fairness and compassion. Unity in shared humanity also calls us to extend compassion and empathy to those who may seem other or unfamiliar to us. In a world marked by division, it is all too easy to fall into the trap of labeling others as different as other, as outside of our circle of care. But when we pause and remember our shared humanity, we are reminded that every person we encounter has their own dreams, hopes, fears, and struggles. When we look beyond the surface, we see that they are not so different from ourselves. They too experience the full spectrum of human emotions and desires, and they too seek connection and understanding. By acknowledging this shared humanity, we can break down the barriers of prejudice, hatred, and fear, and build bridges of compassion, respect, and solidarity. In times of crisis, the unity in our shared humanity often becomes even more evident. When disaster strikes, whether natural or man-made, people from all walks of life, all races, religions, and backgrounds come together to help, to support, and to heal. In these moments, the divisions that typically separate us seem to fall away, and we witness the best of humanity, the willingness to put aside differences and to unite for a common cause. It is in these times of collective response that we see the power of unity, as people from all over the world join hands to lift up those who are suffering. But unity in shared humanity doesn't only emerge in times of crisis. It is an everyday practice, a choice we make every day to see each other as part of one global family. It is in the small, everyday acts of kindness, in the moments of empathy and understanding, in the conversations where we listen more than we speak, and in the willingness to embrace differences without judgment. Unity is not a passive concept. It is something we actively cultivate by showing up for others, by reaching out with love and compassion, and by seeing the humanity in every person we meet. The beauty of shared humanity lies in its simplicity. When we strip away the labels, the judgments, and the fears that divide us, we are left with the undeniable truth that we are all human. We all share this world together, and it is in that shared experience that we find our greatest strength. Our differences, while important and worth celebrating, do not have to separate us. Instead, they can enrich our lives, teach us new perspectives, and help us grow. In recognizing our shared humanity, we learn that we are not in competition with one another. We are collaborators in this journey of life. When we come together as one human family, we realize that our collective power is limitless. We can address the issues that divide us, whether they be social, political, economic, or environmental, by working together with mutual respect, understanding, and care. We can create a world that is more just, more peaceful, and more compassionate, simply by acknowledging the profound truth that we are all part of the same human experience. Unity in shared humanity is not a lofty ideal or a distant dream. It is something we can create every day through our words, our actions, and our hearts. It begins with each of us choosing to see the humanity in others, to treat them with the dignity and respect that they deserve, and to act with compassion and empathy in every interaction. In doing so, we contribute to a world where unity, connection, and love flourish, and where the shared experience of being human becomes the foundation for a better future for all. Ultimately, the strength of humanity lies in our ability to recognize and honor our shared experiences, to understand that we are all in this together. In embracing unity and shared humanity, we find the power to overcome the challenges we face and to create a world where love, compassion, and understanding are at the forefront of our collective existence. In a world that is constantly evolving, diversity is one of our greatest treasures. It's not just about recognizing our differences, but about embracing them with open arms, celebrating the unique qualities that each individual brings to the table. Diversity is the fabric of humanity, woven together by various cultures, beliefs, perspectives, and experiences. It is what makes us whole, vibrant, and rich in possibility. Yet too often we focus on the ways in which we are different rather than the immense beauty that comes with diversity. To truly celebrate diversity is to not just acknowledge it, but to honor it, to learn from it, and to create space for it in every aspect of our lives. Diversity is present in all areas of life. It manifests in the languages we speak, the foods we eat, the traditions we follow, and the art we create. It is seen in the music that moves us, the stories that inspire us, and the history that shapes us. Whether we are aware of it or not, diversity influences every part of our existence. But rather than seeing it as something to merely tolerate or accept, we must come to see it as a powerful force that enriches our collective experience. Diversity broadens our worldview, stretches our imagination, and allows us to step outside the confines of our own experiences. It allows us to see the world through a multitude of lenses and to embrace the beauty in the differences that make us unique. Bruce. One of the most profound aspects of celebrating diversity is recognizing that our differences are not something to be feared or rejected, but something to be explored and understood. When we encounter people whose experiences differ from our own, it's an opportunity to learn. Whether those differences are cultural, racial, or ideological, they provide a chance for growth. Through conversations, interactions, and shared experiences, we can come to appreciate the beauty of diverse perspectives. We can see how the variety of backgrounds, beliefs, and practices contribute to a richer, more nuanced understanding of the world. Embracing diversity allows us to be challenged in our thinking, to rethink assumptions, and to approach life with an open heart and mind. My dear sisters and brothers, there is a crown resting gently above your head, even when you do not feel it. There is a crown made of grace, of resilience, of fire that refuses to be put out. Too often the world tries to convince us that we must earn that crown by bending, by pleasing, by shrinking into corners where our voices cannot be heard. But I tell you today, the crown is already yours. You were born with it. And the glory is not in waiting for someone to place it on your head, but in daring to straighten your back and wear it with dignity. There comes a season in every life when the mirror no longer simply reflects the face we have grown used to seeing. It reveals instead the woman who is slowly emerging. She is not yet complete. She carries the bruises of yesterday, the mistakes that still sting, the doubts that whisper in quiet rooms. But she also carries the spark of tomorrow, the courage that comes from standing up one more time after falling, the wisdom that blooms after pain has done its teaching. To fall in love with her is to honor your own becoming. The woman you are becoming will not ask for permission to rise. She will not lower her voice to keep others comfortable. She will not hide her laughter or her tears. She will understand that to walk in truth is to walk in freedom. And freedom, my friends, is the sweetest song a soul can ever sing. She will learn that her scars are not shame, but scripture written on skin. They testify that she has been in battle and yet she has not been defeated. When you love this woman, you love the process, not just the product. You love the messy beginnings, the trembling first steps, the nights of doubt and the mornings of light. You love her not because she has arrived, but because she is on the road. And in every breath she takes, she is a little braver, a little wiser, a little stronger. The crown fits her not because she is perfect, but because she is persistent. The crown is already yours. Claim it with dignity and courage. This is the truth that must sink deep into your spirit, because too many times the world has told you that you are not enough until you achieve something, until you change something, until you prove yourself worthy in the eyes of others. But you came into this world already clothed in worth, already carrying a light that cannot be dimmed, already crowned with a grace that no human hand gave you and no human hand can take away. The problem is not whether you have the crown. The question is whether you have the courage to wear it, whether you have the strength to stand tall in it, whether you will dare to lift your head high even when voices around you try to weigh it down. Wearing the crown does not mean arrogance. It does not mean you think yourself above anyone else. It means you walk in the knowledge that you were made with intention. It means you honor the woman you are becoming by standing in her power and not apologizing for it. Dignity is not loud. It does not need to shout to be recognized. It simply walks into the room with quiet assurance, with a grace that makes people pause. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep walking even when the path shakes beneath your feet. The crown asks for both: dignity to know who you are, courage to keep moving toward who you are becoming. Think of how often you have doubted yourself, how many times you lowered your voice, shrank your presence, or questioned your own beauty and strength. Each time you did, you let the crown slip a little lower, as if you did not deserve to wear it. But my dear, you were not put here to bow to doubt. You were not born to live as less than yourself. That crown belongs upright on your head, shining with every step you take. The day you decide to claim it is the day you stop waiting for the world to validate your existence and start validating yourself. There will be resistance when you wear your crown. There will be people who say you are too much, too bold, too confident, too loud. There will be those who cannot handle the sight of someone who refuses to live small. But understand this: their discomfort is not your burden. Their unease is not your responsibility. Do not let their fear of their own crown make you take off yours. Instead, let your courage inspire them. Let your dignity remind them of what they too carry, because when one woman dares to stand tall, she gives permission to others to rise as well. Claiming the crown also means accepting the process of becoming. It means you will stumble, you will make mistakes, and you will face days where courage feels like a stranger. But the crown never falls away. It waits for you to pick yourself up and straighten it again. That is where true beauty lies, not in flawless perfection, but in the resilience that keeps placing the crown back on your head after every fall. That quiet act of persistence is what shapes the woman you are becoming. It takes courage to believe that you are already enough, courage to believe you are worthy of love as you are, courage to believe that your scars do not disqualify you, but instead decorate your crown. Dignity asks that you never trade your self-respect for acceptance, never shrink yourself to fit into someone else's definition of beauty. Never bow so low that you forget you were meant to stand tall. When you walk with dignity, you honor every woman who came before you and every woman who will come after you. So wear the crown. Let it remind you of your worth when the world forgets. Let it steady you when the winds of doubt try to shake you. Let it shine with the light of your spirit, a light that no darkness can smother. Remember, the crown is not something you need to earn. It is something you need to embrace. And when you finally wear it with dignity and courage, you do not just transform your own life. You light the way for others to wear theirs too. The woman you are becoming deserves your love more than anyone else's approval. For too long, you may have given away your energy in search of nods, in search of applause, in search of someone to tell you that you are enough. You may have measured your worth by the way others saw you, hoping their recognition could fill the silence of your own doubts. But the truth is, approval fades, it shifts, it changes with the mood of those giving it. One day they will praise you, the next day they may criticize you, and if your heart is built on their voices, you will always be chasing a shifting shadow. But the love you give yourself, that is steady, that is rooted, that is the soil in which your spirit grows. To fall in love with the woman you are becoming is to embrace her before she is fully formed. It is to look at her in the middle of her mistakes and say, I still choose you. It is to see her with flaws, with scars, with doubts, and to whisper, you are worthy. Approval seeks perfection, but love honors the journey. Approval will demand you perform, but love allows you to be. The moment you stop chasing approval and start practicing love for the woman you are growing into, you will find a freedom no applause can match. Consider how much energy is wasted bending yourself into shapes that please others. You laugh when you want to cry. You say yes when your soul aches for no. You hide your dreams because they are too bold for those who do not understand them. Every compromise may win you temporary approval, but each one chips away at your connection to your own heart. Loving yourself, however, restores that connection. It says you do not have to be smaller to be accepted. It says you do not have to dim your light so others feel comfortable. It says the woman you are becoming deserves loyalty from you before anyone else. This love is not selfish. It does not mean you stop caring for others or stop giving kindness. Instead, it means you finally understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Approval from others is a borrowed cup and it will run dry. But when you fill your own cup with self-respect, compassion, and patience for your becoming, you have something real to share with the world. And in that moment, you are not begging for love, you are overflowing with it. Falling in love with your becoming is also about patience. A seed does not bloom overnight, and neither does your becoming. Some days you will feel lost. Some days you will wonder if you are moving forward at all. In those moments, chasing approval will only deepen your frustration because others cannot see the roots that are quietly forming. Only love allows you to trust that growth is happening beneath the surface, that every struggle, every small step, every unseen effort is shaping the woman you are meant to be. When you give yourself this love, you begin to notice the difference between empty praise and genuine connection. You will no longer chase people who only see fragments of you. You will no longer beg to be noticed by those who overlook your worth. Instead, you will attract those who honor your whole being, because love for yourself teaches others how to love you. Approval seeks to control you, but love gives you wings. This is not an easy lesson, because approval feels sweet in the moment. It feels like validation, like proof you are doing well. But approval can be taken back as quickly as it is given. Love for the woman you are becoming, however, is unshakable. It is the steady voice that says you matter on days when no one claps for you. It is the gentle hand that lifts you when no one else notices you are falling. It is the crown you wear even when the world refuses to see it shining. So shift your focus. Stop looking outward for what can only come from within. Turn your heart toward the woman who is rising inside you. Celebrate her in her strength. Honor her in her weakness. Love her when she feels lost, and stand by her when no one else does. Because when you give her your love more than you seek anyone else's approval, she will bloom into everything you were always meant to be. Scars are not shame. They are proof of survival and strength. Every scar you carry tells a story that belongs only to you, a story that whispers of battles fought in silence, of nights you thought you would not endure, of mornings you rose when rising felt impossible. The world often teaches us to hide our scars, to cover them with smiles, with polished words, with a face that pretends pain has never touched us. But the truth is, scars are not marks of weakness. They are evidence that you walked through fire and still found your way back to the light. The woman you are becoming is not perfect, nor is she meant to be. She is textured with experience, painted with memories both sweet and bitter, carved by the lessons only hardship can teach. Your scars are part of her foundation. They are not decorations you chose, but they are reminders that you did not surrender when life demanded you collapse. Each one carries a weight of wisdom. Each one speaks a language of resilience. And to love the woman you are becoming means to love those scars, to see them not as flaws but as medals of honor. There are scars the world can see and scars it cannot. Some live on your skin, others live deep inside your heart. The ones hidden within may ache the most because they are carried quietly, with no recognition, no acknowledgement. But they are there, shaping the way you love, the way you trust, the way you rise again and again. Instead of resenting them, begin to see them as guides. They remind you of where you have been and show you how far you have come. They remind you that pain did not have the final word. They remind you that you are still here, breathing, creating, becoming. Shame tells you to conceal your scars. Strength invites you to embrace them. Shame tells you that others will judge you if they know your story. Strength teaches you that your story may be the light someone else needs to see their way through the dark. When you accept your scars with grace, you are no longer bound by them. You are freed. They no longer speak of what broke you. They speak of what you built out of the brokenness. They no longer define you as wounded. They define you as a survivor. It is not easy to look at yourself and choose to love the marks left behind by hurt. It takes courage to hold your own reflection and say, I am beautiful even here, even with this. But the woman you are becoming requires that courage. She is not born out of untouched perfection, but out of healed imperfection. She knows that scars are not stains, but signatures of a spirit that refuses to quit. She understands that to hide them is to hide her truth, and to hide her truth is to dim her light. Think of the oak tree standing tall with cracks in its bark. Think of the ocean floor shaped by storms. Think of the mountain ridges carved by time. None of these are flawless, yet their beauty lies in their endurance. So it is with you. The scars you carry are not the end of your story, but the brushstrokes that paint the masterpiece of who you are becoming. And when you finally fall in love with those scars, something powerful happens. The shame dissolves. The hiding ends. You begin to walk with freedom. You no longer waste energy pretending to be untouched. You use your energy to live fully. You no longer bow to the fear of being seen. You rise in the power of being known. That is what it means to wear the crown. It means you stand in every part of yourself, your triumphs, your struggles, your scars, and you call it all beautiful because it all belongs to you. So let the scars show. Let them speak. Let them remind you that you were strong enough to survive and strong enough to keep moving forward. They are not shame. They are your crown's jewels. Growth is not about perfection, but persistence in rising after every fall. Too often we believe that to grow means to polish every rough edge, to never stumble, to walk without error or weakness. But real growth has little to do with looking flawless and everything to do with standing back up when the weight of life pushes you down. The woman you are becoming is not the one who never falls. She is the one who refuses to stay down. Each rise builds her strength. Each attempt writes her courage. Each small act of persistence shapes her into something stronger than perfection could ever create. Perfection is a heavy mask. It demands that you hide your flaws, that you cover your scars, that you perform as if the journey of becoming is smooth and spotless. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion, and chasing it only leaves you weary and hollow. Growth asks for something different. It asks for honesty. It asks you to admit when you are tired, to acknowledge when you are broken, to still choose to rise even when your knees shake. It is persistence that gives depth to your spirit, because every time you rise, you prove to yourself that failure does not own you, that setbacks do not define you, and that you are more than the moment you fell. Think of how many times you told yourself you would stop, that the pain was too much, that the mountain was too high. And yet here you are, standing still, breathing still, becoming still. That is persistence. Growth is not in the perfect climb without slips, but in the hands that grab the rocks again after letting go, in the feet that find balance again after stumbling, in the heart that beats stronger with every test. The woman you are becoming will not be measured by how untouched she is by struggle, but by how often she chooses to rise. Her power is in her resilience, her determination to keep walking, her faith that tomorrow holds a promise worth reaching. And when you fall in love with her, you fall in love with persistence itself. You fall in love with the part of you that does not quit, the part of you that keeps showing up when it would be easier to give up, the part of you that knows the crown belongs to those who keep lifting their heads no matter how many times life bows them low. Every rise after a fall rewrites the story of your becoming. You are no longer the one who failed, you are the one who tried again. You are no longer the one who stumbled, you are the one who stood. You are no longer the one who was broken, you are the one who rebuilt. That persistence becomes the heartbeat of your growth. It tells you that your value is not measured by flawless success, but by the courage to return to the path again and again. There will always be those who seem to move faster, who appear smoother, who look closer to perfect. Do not envy them, for you do not know the depth of their journey. Focus instead on your own persistence. Celebrate the quiet victories, the day you refused to give in to despair, the night you wiped your own tears and carried on. The morning you rose when the weight of yesterday still clung to your shoulders. These are the victories that build the woman you are becoming. Growth is alive. It breathes in your persistence. It glows in your resilience. It shines every time you decide to keep going when nothing seems to change. And one day, when you look back, you will see that it was never perfection that crowned you. It was the persistence that shaped you into a woman worthy of wearing the crown with dignity and strength. Freedom comes when you stop apologizing for your voice and your truth. For too long, many of us have been trained to shrink our words, to soften our presence, to bite our tongues so that others remain comfortable. We learn to speak carefully, to weigh every thought, to dilute every dream until it no longer feels like ours. But there comes a moment in the journey of becoming when silence feels heavier than any judgment, when the cost of hiding is greater than the risk of speaking. That is when you discover freedom, not in gaining approval, not in avoiding criticism, but in honoring your own truth without apology. The woman you are becoming will not ask for permission to exist in her fullness. She will not whisper when her heart is calling her to sing. She will not deny her story because it makes someone else uneasy. She will know that her truth has value, that her voice was given to her for a reason. That to silence herself is to betray her own soul, and freedom is born in that recognition. Freedom is not about living without obstacles. It is about choosing not to chain yourself with apologies for simply being who you are. Each time you apologize for your truth, you hand your crown to someone else. You tell them your comfort matters more than my authenticity. But when you decide to stand tall and speak what rests inside your spirit, you reclaim that crown. You place it back where it belongs. You remind yourself that your life is not a performance for others. It is a sacred journey of becoming. And every honest word you speak is a step deeper into that becoming. Of course, freedom does not come without fear. Speaking your truth will make some turn away. Using your voice will unsettle those who prefer you silent. But freedom is not about pleasing the crowd. It is about honoring your own spirit. And when you choose freedom, you find that those who truly belong in your life are drawn closer, not by your silence, but by your courage to be real. The people who truly love you will not ask you to apologize for your truth. They will celebrate it. The woman you are becoming deserves a voice that is strong, clear, and unapologetic. She deserves to express her dreams without shrinking, her boundaries without guilt, her passions without shame. When you stop apologizing for these things, you begin to walk differently. Your steps become lighter, your spirit becomes brighter, your crown shines clearer. That is because freedom is not simply about outer circumstances. It is an inner release. It is the moment you decide you will no longer cage yourself for the comfort of others. And in that freedom, you discover a deeper love for yourself. You realize that you do not need to explain why you are who you are. You do not need to defend every choice, justify every dream, or apologize for every tear. You begin to trust that your truth is enough, that your voice carries weight, that your crown was never given to you to keep hidden. Freedom reminds you that your story, in all its honesty, is a gift. And when you tell it without apology, you give others permission to tell theirs. This is how freedom ripples. One woman speaks without fear, and another finds her courage. One voice rises in truth, and others learn they too can rise. This is how the crown multiplies its glow, not by silence, but by the brave sound of authenticity. So let your voice be heard. Let your truth be told. Stop apologizing for your existence, your feelings, your vision. Wear your crown not with hesitation, but with confidence. And know this, your freedom is not just for you. It lights the way for every woman who is learning to fall in love with the one she is becoming. The journey of becoming is as sacred as the destination itself. Too often we rush through life believing that joy, peace, and worth are waiting for us at some final point. When we achieve the dream, when we reach the goal, when we finally feel complete. But the truth is, every step you take along the way carries its own holiness. Every stumble, every lesson, every small victory is part of the sacred path that is shaping you into the woman you are becoming. If you only fix your eyes on the destination, you will miss the beauty of the unfolding. Think of how flowers bloom. They do not rush the process. The seed rests in the soil, hidden from view, gathering strength in the dark before it ever pushes through the earth. The sprout grows slowly, stretching toward the light, vulnerable to storms and winds, but persistent. The bloom does not happen overnight. It is a collection of moments of growth, of patience. And in the same way, your becoming is not just about who you will be one day. It is about who you are in this very moment, learning, stretching, enduring, rising. That is sacred. That is worthy of celebration. We live in a world obsessed with results. We are told that our worth is tied to outcomes, to trophies, to titles, to applause. But the sacredness of becoming whispers a different truth. It says you are worthy now, not just when you arrive. It says the process is just as meaningful as the prize. It says the crown is not something you earn only at the finish line. It is something you wear as you walk, as you stumble, as you rise, as you keep going. The woman you are becoming is not born out of one grand moment of arrival. She is shaped by countless small moments that nobody sees. The nights you kept believing when everything felt uncertain. The mornings you got up even with a heavy heart. The choices you made to keep loving yourself when doubt tried to consume you. Each of these moments is a piece of the sacred journey. Each one matters. Each one belongs. When you fall in love with the journey, you stop rushing yourself. You stop punishing yourself for not being there yet. You begin to see that every stage has its own beauty. The woman you are today may not be as polished as the one you will become, but she is just as deserving of love. The struggles you face now may feel uncomfortable, but they are carving out the strength and wisdom that will carry you forward. And when you learn to honor this stage, you learn the art of living fully present in your becoming. There will be detours along this path. There will be valleys as well as peaks. There will be moments when you wonder if you are lost. But even those detours are sacred because they teach you what the straight road never could. They stretch your patience, they deepen your resilience, they broaden your compassion. The journey was never meant to be perfect. It was meant to be transforming, and transformation always requires time, trust, and faith. Sacredness is not about being flawless, it is about being intentional. It is about walking with awareness that every step counts. When you realize this, you begin to carry yourself differently. You stop treating your journey like something to endure and start treating it like something to cherish. You understand that the crown is not just waiting at the end. It is with you now, honoring the woman you are in each moment of becoming. So breathe deeply and trust the process. Fall in love with every step, even the painful ones. Honor the waiting, embrace the learning, cherish the growing. Because when you look back one day, you will see that the destination was never separate from the journey. It was hidden in every moment along the way. Loving yourself today prepares you for the greatness of tomorrow. So many of us postpone our own love, telling ourselves we will deserve it once we are thinner, richer, more successful, more admired, more perfect. We make love a reward instead of a foundation. But greatness is not something that suddenly appears one day out of nowhere. It is built step by step on the choices you make right now, in this very moment. And one of the most powerful choices you can make is to love yourself as you are today, with all your unfinished edges, with all your imperfections, with all your becoming still in progress. When you choose love in this moment, you lay down the soil in which tomorrow's greatness will grow. Love gives you the courage to keep moving, even when the path feels unclear. Love gives you the patience to endure when progress seems slow. Love reminds you that you are already worthy, so you do not waste your life chasing worth in the eyes of others. The woman you are becoming cannot rise on a foundation of shame or self-hate. She can only rise when she is rooted in love. Every time you look in the mirror and honor yourself instead of criticizing, you are preparing yourself for tomorrow. Every time you forgive your mistakes, instead of carrying them like heavy chains, you are preparing yourself for tomorrow. Every time you celebrate a small victory instead of dismissing it as not enough, you are preparing yourself for tomorrow. Greatness is not waiting at the end of the road. It is built into every step of love you take along the way. Some believe that self-love makes you weak, that it is indulgence, that it softens you. But true love is strength. It is the voice that steadies you when everything outside is chaos. It is the shield that guards you against the arrows of doubt. It is the fire that keeps you moving when the night feels cold. Without love, tomorrow feels like a burden. With love, tomorrow feels like a promise. Think of the crown you wear. If you do not love yourself today, the crown feels heavy. It feels like something you are not worthy of, something you will never be ready for. But when you love yourself, the crown fits. It becomes a reminder, not a weight. It tells you that you are already enough, and you are only growing into more. That shift changes the way you walk into tomorrow. Instead of crawling toward greatness, you step into it with assurance. The woman you are becoming will face challenges. She will face storms and doubts. But if she has been loved by you today, she will have the strength to endure them. If you speak to her with kindness now, she will not collapse under criticism later. If you nurture her with patience today, she will rise with grace tomorrow. Love is not wasted. It builds the foundation for every great thing you will create. Do not wait for the world to tell you that you are ready. Do not wait for the finish line to give yourself permission to feel proud. Begin now. Love the woman who is learning, the woman who is stumbling, the woman who is trying her best even when she falls short. Love her because she is the root of the woman who will one day stand tall in her full strength. Every ounce of love you give her today multiplies into the greatness she will carry tomorrow. So do not withhold it. Do not delay it. Your future depends on it. Love yourself now, love yourself fully, love yourself without condition. Because when tomorrow comes, the woman you are becoming will stand in her crown with grace and strength, and she will thank you for choosing to love her all along. So as we close this journey together, remember this: you were never without the crown, you were only learning how to wear it. The woman you are becoming is not waiting for permission. She is waiting for you to love her, to honor her, to believe in her even when she is still unfolding. Celebrate your persistence. Embrace your scars, free your voice. Trust the sacredness of your becoming, and most of all, love yourself today so tomorrow can rise in greatness. Walk forward with courage, walk forward with dignity, and wear your crown with pride. Good luck on your journey, and thank you.